Well, here we are, the end of the story arc. So without any further ado, we'll jump into it. Ivanova is still looking for first ones. They've picked up 5 already, and she's ready to go. But Lorien says, nah, we can snag one more and still make it in time. Ah, there we go. The glowing space wooden tortoise is on our side. Meanwhile, the fleet is just finishing off a Vorlon observation post in anticipation of the big shindig, but even that is going to require their everything, as Marcus explains to Lita when she mentions the group of Vorlon ships that have split off from the fleet to go to Centauri Prime. They can't very well defend both planets, and, well, Coriana 6 has a larger population. It's just math. Fortunately, Londo's on it, working to remove everyone in the palace who worked for Carthage before they, and also to remove the shadow vessels from their planet.
Mister, please! Oh. Sorry, I wasn't thinking. Felt very natural, though.
Meanwhile, Sheridan has given word that they're waiting for Ivanova to get there to make sure that she could be there at the end, just like he promised. But she first gets a visit from Lorien, where he waxes about the limits of his immortality.
Skepticism is the language of the mind. What does your heart tell you?
Whoa, no offense there, big guy, but there's not enough tequila in the world to make that happen. While they discuss immortality, on Centauri Prime, the Minister of Intelligence comes to see Londo in private, bringing up Londo's poor late lover, Adira. But not in an attempt to blackmail, as Londo presumes, but rather because the late Emperor had him look into her death. The rumor of Rifa being poisoned and her being poisoned had the Emperor concerned. Anytime when there's a whole lot of poisoning going around, those in charge get nervous. But once they had figured things out, the Emperor felt that Londo should never learn about this situation so long as he was alive. Well, nice that Carthage was willing to throw in that little convenient loophole, so the minister is now free to reveal that it was not Lord Rifa that killed Adira, it was Mr. Morden. Londo doesn't take that well. Not many know this, but Viggo Mortensen broke his toe during this scene. Now it's the waiting game, as the fleet sits for when all the guests are present. This isn't going to be won with weapons, but that doesn't mean they can afford to go in there without being ready to fire off quite a few before this is over. They've got those nuclear mines from Jakar, remember? We've also got Lita's telepathic abilities. Those work against the shadows. We've got a fleet of thousands, a collection of beings from ancient times, and Marcus's rugged good looks. We're as prepared as we can possibly be. Over on Centauri Prime, the now fully healed Mr. Morden is brought in to see Londo, who explains the predicament with the Vorlons, that leaving them there is inviting the destruction of their world, so you've got to go.
There are 3 billion people here. The Vorlons would never attack a civilian population that big. The ships stay.
Oh, there's a man who's holding a 4 of a kind and has no idea his opponent has a royal flush. Went down easier than the Vorlon, but then Londo doesn't have police officers with SWAT equipment that can be used safely on a station. He's probably got them with the most powerful small arms the planet has. Londo repeats his demand. Morden refuses. So Londo has the entire island blown up, even a small number of Centauri inhabitants who stayed behind to cover for the evacuation of the rest of them. That way the shadows wouldn't realize that something was up until it was too late. Soon Vir arrives at a timely moment. Londo tells him that he has dealt with the last of the shadows' influence on their world, and to go outside and see. JMS reminds us what Vir had told Mr. Morden that he wanted, to see the man's head on a pike so that he could wave at it. When you wish upon a star. Back at the coordinates, the two guests of honor have arrived. Shadows from one direction, Vorlon from the other. Not great being the meat in this sandwich. They detonate a few of their nukes to get some attention, and then they join into the free-for-all. They try to send a message to the Vorlons, but they either won't answer or not even listening, and Lita can't even get through to them telepathically. So, with the planet killer getting ready to wipe out 6 billion people, Sheridan has no choice left but to play the trump card and calls in the first ones, who proceed to kick the shit out of it.